What made you decide never to have kids?
I'm barely holding it together worrying about myself. Worrying about another person I'm responsible for would push me over the edge. I hear that, my friend.
Same here.
I think someone should deeply want kids in order to have kids. I've never felt the call to have kids. I have no desire to bring unwanted kids into existence.
Same. I think if you don't feel it, don't force it. This is how I feel. Please don't force it or assume you will want them later.
Thanks. I absolutely love being a parent to my child. Always wanted to. It's one of the things I always wanted and needed to do. And it has been everything I wanted and more. But my mother never wanted kids at all, and I was the first. She made it very clear my entire life that I was unplanned, unwanted, and too much like my father. I no longer speak to her. Thank you for not chancing this. Nobody should have kids they don't want.
100%. I love kids, but never felt the need to have one.
Same for me, but also just ran out of time, despite being married for 16 years. I'm 41, so I know it's not impossible to have a child right now, but we're both pretty happy where we are in life.
I agree with you. About 9 years ago, a tired woman came up to me and asked for help her kids kept playing on the scanner and bringing stuff up. She turned to me and started crying, saying she never wanted kids, and she wished she'd never had them. She said it again and how she missed her life. It was a brief conversation as she got her stuff and left. About 2 weeks later, she was on the news for killing them. My heart sank. The generational trauma and mental, physical illnesses will die with me. I felt the same way and never wanted to have kids. Then I met my wife. I love her deeply, and she wanted kids. I was then open to it and thought I'd try to be the best dad I can. The generational trauma did die with me. Everything I've been through, I learned from. Things aren't perfect, but I'm not committing the same mistakes as my parents or grandparents. I'd like to think I am a pretty good dad who's raising a well-adjusted kid.
I'm sorry this has happened to you. I don't know your story, but however you decided this, I hope you're living your life well. You don't need kids to have a good life, and I hope it was freeing for you. Beautifully said.
I would not drag a soul into this reality. Absolutely. Whenever I ask a potential parent, is the world a great place or kind of a f***ed up place? They always answer the latter. When I ask the follow-up question, why would you force someone to live in this f***ed up place? They don't really have a good answer. Maybe so, but it's only a f***ed up place because of f***ed up people. And that's the problem. More and more f***ed up people have f***ed up kids, then the world gets more f***ed up, rinse and repeat. And if sensible people don't have kids, we don't have a sensible world. Idiocracy, 2006. When sensible people don't have kids. Agreed. If you're familiar with the Fermi paradox, I think we're approaching the great filter. The world we've created has made it more and more difficult for regular people to reproduce, and will eventually feel the ramifications.
Realizing I enjoy naps and disposable income too much. Also snacks. The responsibility and constant worry scares the shit out of me. Absolutely nothing, honestly. I knew since I was 13 that I didn't want them. Nothing sparked it. No conversations or trauma or any of that. 32 now, and nothing's changed. I just don't feel like it.
That's roughly the age that people started leaving me the hell alone about it too. The current economy.
The economy has been my main reason for a decade. I guess that's why the saying, if you wait until you can afford to have kids, you're not going to have kids, exists. If that's the rationale of their decision, it's likely they've come to terms with not having children at all. I'm just not interested in raising kids, and I don't want to spend my life worrying over kids. And I never want to experience pregnancy, childbirth. But pregnancy and childbirth are so beautiful. I guess you have to experience it to say and believe that. From what I know, it seems horrific and disgusting and unpleasant in general. Exactly! I don't want to put myself through that suffering. Not worth it. OMG, the thought of having something move around inside me freaks me off out. 100% agree. Also, pregnancy is scary, and getting pregnant, not even carrying baby to term, can downright kill you. Like, no. Also, even just being pregnant permanently alters your brain chemistry and body. I like my body and brain exactly as it is, thanks. I didn't realize some of the changes that occur in your body. The giant pad you gotta wear after amount other things. My own childhood.
I don't want to sacrifice my life for another being. I enjoy my freedom, money, and time too much.
Trump being elected a second time in Project 2025. I cannot, in good conscience, bring a life into the hellscape that world will be, especially as a trans and queer person. It would be cruel. Love that the first comment proves your point. Nothing about having babies ever appealed to me, least of all the ghastly, gory procedure of birthing. Even when I was a kid, I wasn't at all interested in baby dolls, only Barbies. In college, I had nightmares about having had a baby and being in church for its baptism, realizing with horror that it was a huge mistake, but I was stuck with it as long as I lived. Same, Barbies all the way. Barbies equals fashion and fun. Baby dolls equals responsibility. No thanks.
I can't afford a home to raise them in. Bert gestures broadly at everything. I find them irritating.
Having siblings born when I was in high school? Also, the idea of dealing with other people's children when they're old enough to have friends.
ASS. Same here. Best birth control ever is being the teenage live-in babysitter for infants. It was the other way around. There was never anything that made me think of kids as enriching my life.
I feel this very hard. I'm 34 and basically at that do-or-die age. Yes, plenty of women have kids later, but as far as planning goes, this feels very final to me. I've never wanted kids and always felt adamant about being child-free. But boy, does that feel different staring down the barrel of 35 compared to 15, or even 25. I don't want kids because I've just never looked at a kid and thought, wow, I'd love to have Cher raise one of these. I also don't believe people should have kids unless they really want to. My parents had me at 35 despite not wanting kids before because they caved to the age pressure. Although they love me a lot, I think they mostly regret that decision and all I've taken from their lives, which they willingly gave. But it was big sacrifices, you know? Anyway, I don't really have any advice here. I'm mostly just commiserating that even as a staunchly child-free woman, I definitely feel some bubbling existential angst around not having kids. Because I know it means I'll have to carve out meaning in the absence of a human legacy. And I'm still trying to solve that particular mystery in my own life. Climate change and cost of living.
I'm the son and brother of alcoholics.
Never wanted kids either. Love my freedom, naps, and stress-free life too much. The fear to have a special needs child. I know I couldn't handle it. It would be too much for me, and I can't make a poor child suffer because of that. The reality of the system. Don't want to subject my child to being a corporate slave for its entire existence.
Realizing how expensive and exhausting they are.
I'm like you. I have a lot of reasons not to have kids, but still feel a bit undecided. I guess I realized I'm more likely to regret having kids if I'm not sure, than never having them. I love my life as it is, but not sure I'd love being a full-time mom. It sounds like a lot. I am curious if my feelings would change with the right partner, though, so I've decided to leave the question open for now. Growing up with 7 other siblings, I never consciously decided. When I was too little to even remember and I'd play house or dolls, I refused to ever have kids even then. That's just never been my life path, I guess.
Have you ever been around a kid? Loud, annoying, terrible, stupid, dirty, coughs in your face, removes all your free time. Literally no good things about a kid, not ever. Screaming babies on airplanes.
I refuse to pass down my bullshit medical issues. Not about to plague someone else with this existence. Hated being one. Wouldn't wish being a kid on anyone. My parents had no idea what they were doing when they raised my sister and I, so I had no healthy example of parents in their roles or having a family get along. That and knowing that I can't provide a good life for a child because the quality of life has gone down.
People trying to force and guilt trip me too. Like, are you gonna take care of them and pay their bills?
I don't like them enough, and I know I would be a horrible parent. I have a temper, I have no patience, and when I get touched out hangry, sleep deprived, or am in pain, I am a miserable person to be around. Climate change. I've spent years studying the natural world and what we've done to it. The writing is on the wall. I cannot in good conscience bring someone into a world that will no longer have a place for us in a few decades. Plus, I have no interest in passing down a few genetic issues both I and my spouse have. Kids don't interest me. Many things don't interest me. Parrots, tropical fish, rifles, collecting wine. Kids are on that list. I know a woman who has a bird. The bird is very sweet. He dances. I am not interested in having a bird. I simply have no desire for it, and you don't need more than that to be your reason. Money would be an issue. Pregnancy and birth. It's a horrific process, and I don't want to endure the pain and rapid transformation to my body that'll be damaged permanently. My family has a history of mental illness, so I figured if I had kids and gave it to them, it would be premeditated child abuse. Plus, I wouldn't want my mom anywhere near another kid.
Thank you for watching. Write comments, put likes. Do not forget to watch other videos.